Former President Donald Trump in court, saying he was just protecting democracy as his legal team pushes to dismiss his federal election interference case. Trump blasting the investigation as he exited the courthouse. Take a listen.
It's the opening of a Pandora's box, and that's a very sad thing that's happened with this whole situation. When they talk about threat to democracy, that's your real threat to democracy. And I feel that as a president, you have to have immunity. Very simple.
Trump's attorneys arguing that the former president has complete immunity from criminal prosecution in this case because he was the president of the United States at the time. But special counsel Jack Smith says Trump's actions around January 6 were absolutely not part of his official duties as president and were personal in nature, designed to illegally keep him in office, even though he had clearly lost. Senior reporter Katherine Faulders joins me now from outside the court, along with legal contributor and trial attorney Brian Buckmire. So, Katherine, let's start with you. Trump is singing the same tune of corruption as he always does. Give us a little more color from inside the courtroom today.
Right, I'm sure you weren't surprised, Kara, to hear his remarks after he left the court today. But inside the courtroom, of course, as you know, there are no cameras. Trump did sit at the main table there with his lawyers, didn't say anything publicly to the court, but did engage with his attorneys, his legal team, as these arguments were unfolding. I think it's worth pointing out that this is the third time that Trump has been inside a courtroom with special counsel Jack Smith sitting just feet away from him. The last time that they were in a courtroom together was when Trump was arraigned here. Look, inside the courtroom, the judges were asking multiple questions, of course, of the special counsel lawyer and of Trump's attorney. Take a listen to this one exchange between one of the judges and Trump's lawyer, John Sauer.
I asked you a yes or no question. Could a president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival who was not impeached, would he be subject to criminal prosecution?
If he were impeached and convicted first. And
so your answer is no.
My answer is qualified yes. There's a political process that would have to occur under the structure of our Constitution, which would require impeachment and conviction by the Senate. In these exceptional cases, as the OLC memo itself points out from the Department of Justice, you'd expect a speedy impeachment and conviction.
The judges here really trying to understand the argument from Trump's legal team and the extent to which they are arguing whether, for example, John Sauer is saying that in order for this presidential immunity not to apply, then the former president would have to be impeached and convicted here. They presented a number of hypotheticals, as the one you heard right there, but during arguments, the judges did really press the Trump legal team on the extent of presidential immunity and when it should apply and when they believe it shouldn't apply.
So let me follow up with that to you, Brian. How far can Trump really stretch the law here? Because that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he's trying to stretch the law in the sense of covering his own actions as official acts, because if they're official acts, then they should be covered under immunity, at least in the concept of civil litigation or liability, because we've never really gone to the point of do those acts also allow for immunity in criminal settings. But he's also looking at this very unique section of the Constitution, Article 1, Section 3, Clause 7. It's called the impeachment process. And the way it kind of articulates is, you can be removed after you're impeached, but after that all occurs, you can also face criminal prosecution. They're taking that "but" to mean only, but that's not the way the English language works. And so I think in that respect, they're really stretching this argument to its breaking point. We can kind of see the language there, because just if you read the plain English reading of that statement, you don't need a Juris Doctorate to really understand that. It just simply says, one can happen, and then the other can happen afterwards. It doesn't mean that one has to happen before the other does.
Does Trump have any options here, Brian, to take further action?
So in terms of further action, if this panel of 3 judges hear the case, he can then ask for the case to be reviewed en banc. It's like a fancy word, just means on the bench, where 9 judges of the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals would hear the case. And then ultimately, he can appeal to the Supreme Court of the United States, because more so than winning the arguments in federal cases, delaying the case is a very big victory for him as well, because ultimately, if he does win the presidency, he can turn around and say, hey, we have a sitting policy of not prosecuting a sitting president, and also he might try to dismantle this case if he's already a president.
Brian, Katherine, thanks, guys.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.